Hi guys, Catmaster here with another quick video. We did finally end up back in Standard League, first rip of the league, and I wanted to take the opportunity to quickly make a video, talk a little bit about the build I played, about the first impressions extended of the league, and just everything that comes to mind and the future plans. So if you're interested in that, that's the video. So, 3.15 Expedition League. I already made a small video yesterday. In case you haven't checked that out, I recommend you watch that first so you get a little bit of an idea how my league start went and how my first impressions, the very first impressions of the encounters with the Kilgurran Expeditioners went. There's also some tips and tricks for the league mechanic if you haven't played it yet. Obviously I made the video before I was even in maps, so there's little to no end game knowledge in that video. But yeah, if you want to watch that, make sure you also subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. And yeah, I did decide to play Chaos.Occultist because, I mean, in a meta where everything is sort of nerfed, explosions are extremely good, and Occultist does have these explosions that are based on the enemy max life. And that's one of the big reasons, the other big reason being that I am fairly familiar with this build, so it was probably a good choice, and it felt like a good choice, but then in the end we did die to, I'm gonna show the rip clip in a second on stream, but we did end up dying, and I'm going to explain why. But as you can see, build went fairly well here. We were interacting with the game in a great manner. What's a little bit weird, obviously, is the fact that you can't preemptively flask immunities anymore. So for ailments like Freeze Chill, Shock, Ignite, and Bleed, you cannot pre-flask anymore. You can only remove these at a point, and if you happen to remove the ailment, then you also get an immunity for 1 second. It's just completely uncoupled from the flask duration, but it does mean that if you empty your flasks before you fight the monsters and then they freeze you, you have no way to remove the freeze and you will be frozen and killed. So yeah, I mean, you see I was using Bane and Blight for single target. I had an Essence Drain that was only 2 linked at this point. I did make it to level 82, I believe, before I died. So this is a little bit of gameplay before that. I was still level 80. I was top 200 overall, top 30 of my Occultist class, but I also did sleep a healthy amount earlier, and I was just coming back and I was about to ramp up again and to climb in ranks. So what happened that made me die? As I said in the previous video, I decided to join in the challenge that was called out by Mathel, Quinn, Zizaran, and Steelmage on their Stalling podcast, where they agreed reluctantly somehow, but they still all agreed that they would play HCSSF without logout macro. So you don't log out in order to prevent your death, you don't log out in order to save portal scrolls and go back to town, you pretty much only log when you cannot use a portal because like sometimes it's bugged when the hideout crashes and stuff like that. Then obviously you have to log or exit the game in order to go back and to continue playing, but no logout cheese, just you know, log out when there's no other option. And that means obviously you have to play very cautiously, and you can't get yourself into any situation where you need to log. Like, you can't make any mistakes because you can't fix them by just instantly logging. And so what happened was that I was doing an expedition encounter here, mindlessly, relatively, as you can see. That's bad. And I just jumped into a pack, and positioning. It was bad positioning, as I point out. That was pretty bad. That was pretty bad. Let's watch it again, so you can see. Making good use of the high contrast cursor here. Oh, that's and then just standing in the middle there, and honestly, I have to say that. Oh, that's bad. I mean, I was probably I was also shocked here. Was that shock or is that chill? And that's frozen. I think that's chill and freeze. Because the Jade Flask was also ticking. And that one was the shock remove one. So I must have used that. Yeah, I could have probably used Enduring Cry here. And I could have used my Valblite to kill those monsters faster. But the big mistake was just using my movement skill offensively to jump into the middle of the pack. When I know that movement skills are nerfed and that we don't have as high a cooldown anymore. And then I couldn't escape in time because I got stunned out of the movement skill. So a little bit of a bad play because I could have had stun immunity from Occultist already, and I could have probably, with a little bit of effort, already went CI, and then it would have looked a little bit different, but still very, very bad move to offensively jump into the pack and to just, yeah, get obliterated. So yeah, that's a big rip for the character, but overall I think it was a good league start. We got some amazing gear. Sadly, we died with a lot of it, but I still have some things left, and currently I'm going to decide what we're going to do next. It looks like we're going to do a Trapper, because I do have some stuff left here. Let's quickly see. Go into my stash. If you're interested in the League Start character, I'll gladly make a video about that one as well. I don't want this one to be too long, and there's still some first impressions that I want to react to and talk about here, but basically this is the new character I made. Zizaran made a video, by the way, how you can, with resetting characters,
need something?
Pretty much guarantee to get a tabula or like all kinds of leveling gear early on. If you just make a character, go to the gamble window, get all the simple ropes, all the wool shoes, all the leather caps and stuff like that, see whether you get a unique, and then just log out, delete the character, kill Hillock with a new character again, rinse, repeat, because this inventory resets every time you do make a new character, obviously, otherwise it would be empty at some point. And yeah, League mechanics seems to be balanced around that. If you need more details on this, check out the video on Zizaran's YouTube. I'm gonna link that down below in the description. And I'm quickly gonna go look what we have here. I think like I have the new unique gloves, the ward gloves met with its challenge, which give all resist and a little bit of ward, but mostly they make it so that you get less flash charges from kills, but you do get flash charges per second if you've hit a unique enemy recently, so obviously these are really good for boss fights. I did get 2 +1 all spell skill gems once, which I don't know what we're going to do with these, but you can obviously, when you have a free prefix, well, not on this one because it doesn't have a free prefix, but here you have a free prefix and a free suffix, you can still craft spell damage or something like that. I got a +1 fire wand here, I got a +1 fire shield with 104 life. This is the old wand from my character that I died with. This is the previous one, before I found the one with 33 chaos dot multi. This one has roughly 100% increased spell damage and a little bit of chaos dot multi. And I think I also had some trap stuff, I don't know, I don't remember. Well, like here, fizz conversion gloves and some other decent boots. Like a 3-step assault. I don't remember, what did I have for traps? I didn't have like trap something. Oh yeah, we have Deerstalker, a trap throwing speed life double res jewel. Deerstalker are good, but the problem is with the Deerstalker you get a large portion of your movement speed on throwing a trap, and you can't throw traps in town, so in town you're gonna be really, really slow. Other than that, I'm probably gonna use these because they have 18% increased trap throwing speed. But that seems really, really decent. I have no idea where I actually have something else I had in my mind that actually works with traps, but well, I guess I don't know. I had something else that made me think I want to play traps. Can't come up with it. But yeah, largely garbage. We do have the Deerstalker though, so that's great. Looking forward to that. Probably gonna play like a Poison Bladefall trap with Seismic Trap for single target, or for like added damage. It's just Seismic Trap got a massive buff, so it's much better than it used to be, but you can't base your build around Seismic Trap because it does have an 8-second cooldown, so that's not going to be good enough for clear. Yeah, talking about the leak, or the patch 3.15, there seems to be like 3 big things that people like or dislike, and that's like, first is the increased difficulty with buffing the monsters and buffing their AI, which starts as early as Act 1, but yeah, I just remembered what I meant. Wait, I'm gonna start with that again. I just remembered that I had the dagger that I wanted for the blade trap, but I'm not gonna play blade trap because I literally got told that blade trap is shit. So a little bit confused there, but I was gonna try and play blade trap with Mark of the Doubting Knight originally. I did hear from several other people that blade trap is just not as good as it should be, but anyway, so 3 big things: monster buffs, which are generally received well, then mobility nerfs, which are generally received very, very poorly. They did nerf a lot of sources of movement speed. They nerfed the source of onslaught on Abyss Jewels, and most notably, the most popular movement skills got significantly toned down in terms of uptime, which is also one of the reasons I died, right? My Flame Dash was on cooldown, I couldn't escape there because I used it offensively, and then I got stunned out of 2 Flame Dashes. So really, you have to be more aware when you use movement skills. And that is something that is hard to wrap your head around when you're used to using them mindlessly and spamming them and basically having them up whenever you want. And now it's something that you can only really use in situations where you really need to use it. And you always have to make sure that you still have it up for when you need it, as opposed to before, where you could reach a point where it's virtually always up. I mean, you could still have it on cooldown, but yeah. And obviously these changes feel really bad. I remember that Grinding Gear Games did publicly talk about how another game called Marvel Heroes kind of killed itself by nerfing mobility overnight and losing like 80% of their active player base, and they've always been very careful with adjusting movement skills because of that. And I'm actually kind of surprised that they made such a drastic change to movement skills, knowing that and being fully aware of that. So I do think that what they actually did was just a fraction of how they would like to adjust it. They actually didn't. It was a measured adjustment. They wanted to just adjust it a little bit and not pull it all the way to the point where they think it should be, I guess. Because I don't think they want to upset the player base, and they don't want to reduce the power level without a big reason. But I think it's too early to tell whether the game is worse or better with these changes. I urge everyone who is having a bad time to, you know, give it a little bit of a time and try to adjust and try to play the game and see how you feel about it in a week or 2. Because right now, obviously, you're comparing it to the state right before the patch. I don't know whether you played before that or not, but, you know, it's obviously really, really rough if you compare it to before, but back in the day, the mobility was much worse than it is in the current patch, and people were still having fun with the game, and the game was a little bit slower paced and a little bit more methodical and tactical, rather than like pure zoom spamming. And I think that a game like that can still be enjoyable nowadays, even with having had the extreme zoom power creep that we did have. It's just, like I said, it's not going to feel good if it changes overnight, right, that drastically. And I do feel with a lot of people who don't agree with these changes. And the last sentiment that I feel is expressed a lot is that the Atlas currently feels very tedious to progress through, like a chore. And for me personally, I have to say that the struggling and the getting there, like the journey is the game, right? Like it's not about arriving at that plateau where it feels good to play the game, but it's about like the journey there. And I personally don't feel like the Atlas is super bad. I kind of enjoy that there is a lot of content to play through, but obviously when you played through that content already 20, 30 times on different characters in different patch iterations, and you know, it always took a certain amount of time, and now because of the general game speed being slowed down, it takes double the time, let's say, an arbitrary number. I don't know how much longer it takes for the top players. It's also too early to tell because the top meta hasn't been found out yet. I mean, there's a lot of unknown variables, and not everyone has tried every skill and every combination of support gems and every build setup. It's rough, yeah. I can totally see why people are upset, but at the same time I do think that 3.15 is still a step into the right direction. Do I think the game is in the perfect state right now? Probably not, but I still think the development is, well, not spot on, but it's definitely pointing in the right direction, and they do have the right ideas about where the game needs to be. It's just going to be difficult to adjust it in a way that feels good for the people who are used to how it was right before the patch. But yeah, I'm Catmaster OP, and I'm about to roll a new character. If you would like more videos like this, like I said in the beginning, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. There is the, wait, where is it? Why does it not work? Where's my subscribe? There's my subscribe. And twitch.tv/catmasterop. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video when I see you in the next video. Bye bye.